Welcome to episode 24 of Just Ask Cher Live. Today is going to be a very interesting episode. As you know, the world has been shocked all over. The ripple effects of Kobe Bryant's death is definitely being felt as someone who's every day on social media. You can't avoid it. You can't see it. You can't even scroll past more than one post without seeing some sort of tribute, some sort of post of pain, post of shock and disbelief that Kobe Bryant is dead. And everybody on that helicopter has passed away. But as we continue, this is now we're now Tuesday, can't remember what day it is. We're looking at the stories that have come out beyond the actual tragic story. We're seeing the man, the legend, the family man, the businessman. That's what we are seeing now. And interestingly enough, as I reflect on how Kobe has impacted my life in more than one, and I'll share that throughout the episode, it's interesting to see how there was no other way I could do anything else. I had big plans for today, guys. I had another episode all lined up. I knew what I was going to talk about, had my scroll stoppers, everything. And then this morning when I was doing my prep and I noticed it was episode 24. There is no other way for me to avoid the feelings that I had. It was really important for me to do this episode. So I will be sharing some awesome tips that I have learned, because like I said, you can't scroll but a second without seeing a story, a video, a picture, a quote about Kobe Bryant. You won't even scroll by a second and without seeing that. And I mean, we know Kobe Bryant. We know him as this incredible player. And I'm just going to show you a screen. This is what we know. Many people, what they know Kobe's legacy for. And thank you, Fox Sports, by the way, for this board. 5-time NBA champion, 7 NBA final appearances. And we've been hearing it all day, so we know. But we also know Kobe Bryant as this incredible family man. And this was this I believe was his last Instagram post. And you see his entire family, including his little baby that he just had last year. This is what we're seeing. This is the heartbreak that we're seeing online. And as we see that, we get to know who this man was, because he was very private. He has been doing a lot of things behind the scenes. And people are starting to now, as you know, those who follow Kobe, know Kobe, read his books, have seen some of his productions. They know Kobe, but there's a lot of people who didn't know Kobe beyond the basketball player. And what's interesting for me as someone who talks about branding, who talks about putting yourself out there online and leveraging your brand and creating opportunities and all that stuff, we're going to just dive into some of the lessons that we can learn from Kobe Bryant as we bring it into our own brands, our reputations, that living legend that he was. And so I really had fun creating this episode. And what a lot of people don't recognize is that Kobe, as I said, he's been rebranding himself in this second half as a business mogul, as an author, executive producer, an Oscar-winning filmmaker. And he was also building this empire that includes venture capital fund and multimedia production company, athletic training centers and books and so much more. So as we are on a business channel here on LinkedIn, I know it's being streamed live to Twitter as well as Facebook. Hello and welcome. I will be checking the tweets and the comments and of course YouTube. I'm watching, so I will check that out afterwards. But for those of you who are live in this community right now on LinkedIn watching as well, this is where all the comments are happening, where I'll be paying the most attention to while it's live. But of course the replay, I got all of y'all. But anyways, today's episode is dedicated to this man. And look at this. I had my timer all set up. You see, I'm focused, right? Timer all set up, ready to go. It's going now. But today's all about this man. Today is all about how his legacy can impact us from a business perspective. So I'm just keeping really focused. There's so many things to talk about, but I've got less than 29 minutes, technically like 25, but who's counting? So I'm just going to check in right now to see if everything's good. I'm assuming it is. Yeah, I see some people watching, which is fantastic. Let's see here. Okay, Chad says, hey, Christopher's watching Team Live. That's awesome. And yes, Dwayne, it definitely hurts. And Dwayne, owe you a message. I'll get back to you. Don't worry. Charisse, hello. Sean's watching Team Live for episode 24. Dr. Carla Maria Jones is Team Live. Bertina, Team Live. Misha, Team Live. Hi, everyone. Tiffany, Team Live. David, Team Live. Shad, Team Live. And yeah, there are so many people. He says that Philly guy here who knew the fam and is struggling with the loss. And I am so sorry for those of you who knew his family, knew him personally. I can only imagine as you scroll past and see this, see the stories, see the overwhelming things that we are now bombarded with. And that was one of the things that I was having trouble even like, do I want to do a show about Kobe? But how could I not with episode 24? And for those of you who know me, and or if you want to take a quick peek at my LinkedIn profile, early in my career, I actually worked in the NBA with the Raptors in their broadcast division. So we're talking like in the time when Kobe was just coming of age, Vince Carter, Allen Iverson, like we're talking like Shaq, Kobe, Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, Chris Bosh, like this whole genre of people where Kobe was at his absolute prime, taking over the world. And I mean, I literally said his name every single day. And I even named my son, who is now 17 years old, I named him after Kobe. So this is really, truly touching me. And he's somebody, and I look back and it's like, when I was looking at my graphics, I'm like, my graphics are purple and gold. It's crazy. So you're just seeing these connections. And then episode 24, this is where I'm at right now, guys. But I wanted to just talk to you guys about some of the stuff I've been learning, because you can't go but a minute. And I'm curious, where were you? This is one of those iconic moments. Where were you when you heard the news? I was talking to the biggest Laker fan that I know. And we literally were on the phone for 3 hours as the news started coming down. Because first it was Kobe. First it was like, are you serious? Because a friend of mine texted, or my cousin texted me, I told him, and we were just sitting there in shock. And then we're fact checking. And then we hear his daughter was on the phone. And so more shock and awe. This is like, I remember where I was when Whitney Houston died. I remember where I was when Prince died. I remember where I was when Michael Jackson died. I will always remember where I was when Kobe Bryant died. And of course, this is not to minimize everybody else who was on that plane and on that helicopter and lost somebody. So I'm just curious, where were you when you found out on that Sunday? And let's just take a look. And as I get in there, we'll see if I can get in. LinkedIn's not being nice today. As far as Whitney, hey, what's up? Charisse, oh, my hair is everything. Thank you. So today, guys, we're talking about the Mamba mentality as we jump right in right now. And the interesting thing is, why should we be adopting the Mamba mentality? Well, one of the reasons why is Kobe said this in one video that I watched. He says, you want first place? Come play with me. You want second place? Go somewhere else. And that is a true mindset of a winner. So as what I pulled out today were 7, I believe, winning mindsets that I took from Kobe Bryant that I plan to adopt in my brand personally. And just in the way, not just brand, but reputation, me, because I believe that I am my brand. I am the living version of the brand that I put out online. I stay the same. I am the same. And I hope to take and adopt what we're being lessons, like what we're being learned. These lessons are impacting us. And I want to just share what I found and what I learned, and maybe you're inspired to adopt some of these as well. So let's see what we can learn from this. And as usual, I've seen some of you guys already. You're jumping in there, Team Live, Team Replay. I've got my audience trained. You know what's up. You know what's up when you're watching my show, and I appreciate that. And Christopher Lawrence says, thanks for having this episode. And Whitney saying she's still processing this. It's so much. And Keisha says, happy Tuesday. Melissa says, so hard to stomach this. It really is. And this was such a tough episode. I agree with you, Yolanda. Like, it was such a tough episode. But then I found it a bit cathartic as I just started saying, well, what can I take away from this legend? What can I take away from his incredible work ethic that we know inside out that he already had? But there's so many things that I was able to discover about him. And that's why I spent this day, this whole entire morning, redoing my entire show, episode 24, with good reason. Yes, David is like, ladies and gents, Cher is here. I sure am. And checking in Team Live. Thank you, Gary. And yes, so many people are in disbelief about this. And Elizabeth sends her love and prayers, which I love that. And Whitney says she was home. Yeah, I was on the phone. I was home. And it was hard. So thank you guys so much for joining in on the comments. Let me know if you're Team Live, Team Replay, and where you were when you heard the news, because this is something that is a big deal. So let's jump right in, because there's so much to talk about. And for those of you who want all the links to what I'm talking about, so I've really found curated some cool content. So if you want it, make sure you are live on my Just As Cher live email list. So just go to justasshare.com at the end of the episode, or open up another tab. You know what to do. Get on my A list. I'll be sharing the lessons learned, plus so much more. And also, my Tap That app. I still got something fire for you guys. So make sure you get on that list, and I'll keep you posted on a few other things as well. So jump on that list anytime. But in the meantime, here's the first thing I want to share with you guys. This is lesson number 1. I loved this quote. I saw it on, it was actually on a news broadcast on BNN Bloomberg. And he said, be yourself, be you. There's no gimmick. You don't have to contrive anything. Who are you? Where are you today? What is your story? And all you're doing to communicate that story to the public. So that was something that was really important to him, that he would actually, when he was investigating people, when he was trying to figure out who he should talk to, who should he work with, who is this person that is being introduced to him, he would always ask, well, what makes them great? But also recognizing how important those words, when we look at that, this is your brand. And I said it about myself just a moment ago. My brand is me. I can't be somebody else online that I am in real life. It's the same life. If people meet me online first, they meet me. So this is a lesson in as far as I'm concerned, this is a lesson in branding. And I really, truly did appreciate that. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I stay live with the comments as well. But I truly, truly appreciated that, of course, as someone who helps people develop their brand and make it authentic and be who they are. So that's that first one, be yourself. The second one that I really learned from, and let me just show you guys right now, is interesting because it seems at the beginning counter to being yourself, is adopt an alter ego. So this was an interview with Patrick Bet-David. He is an incredible entrepreneur, very significant motivator in the world. His company's called Value Attainment. So Valuetainment. There you go. I said it now. And in that clip, he talked about the need to develop an alter ego when he was on the court, when it was game time, when he had to focus. He likened it to Gladiator, when he picked up the dirt and smelled the dirt. He literally retold that story. And then he tells the story of how he himself puts on listen, don't talk to me. I'm focused. I'm in the game and I am someone else. He is Mamba when he is on the court. And that may be something that you have to do when you are in presentation mode, when you are up in front of people, when you have to present in a boardroom, present on stage, put yourself together so you can create video online. You may have to develop an alter ego, and that's what he did. That was one of his keys to success. And interestingly enough, this is not uncommon by high performers. So I wanted to share something with you. It's a book that I'm actually reading right now, and it's called The Alter Ego Effect by Todd Herman. And basically he talks about how the world's top performers use secret identities to win in sports, business, and life. And Kobe was no different in that. So if you get a chance, I'm an Audible girl, so I listen to books, and it's a really good read so far, or listen, depending on if you want to correct me. So it's definitely worth checking out. And it's really interesting to just see that, because, Beyonce, Sasha Fierce, same thing, is how people can get to that deep zone, that level of play, that level of mastery. So check out that book. It actually gives you a framework on how to develop your own alter ego. So I'm just putting that out there as something, well, he did it, and look at him, right? So just a thought. Anyways, yeah. So once again, I'll give you the screen there, The Alter Ego Effect by Todd Herman. And if you're on my list, I'll make sure I link directly to Amazon so you can find it, my friends. And okay, so that is number 2, develop the alter ego effect. My next point is really interesting, because this is another aspect of, I keep on reading this over and over and over again, is about successful leaders are awesome storytellers. They know how to capture an audience. Those investors that can tell a story that can draw people in, those are the people who will want to listen to you. Those are people who want to listen to your ideas, connect that emotion. And Kobe Bryant actually, and you could tell that in his business life, he truly valued storytelling. So let's take a look at this quote: become a storyteller. And he said, I love, and this, he said that to the LA Times. He said, I love storytelling. And this is back in 2015. I love framing stories that inspire. I love educating in a very creative way. I love putting pieces of the puzzle together. And if you look at that as someone in business, as a professional, and putting your brand out there, you can educate and inspire leveraging the stories that can help people either see themselves in that story, but also to inspire them, to get them where you want them to be. So storytelling was super important for him, to the point where he is a published author. He has a media company, and he's won an Oscar, that, or it was an Academy Award. Sorry, guys. But anyways, the same thing. Anyways, let me now jump into, with that quick, let me jump into the questions to see what you guys are saying. And Marcello's saying he's loving this. And Shad saying he's loving the energy, and we all need this. Yeah, it's so true. There's so much to learn from Kobe, and I'm really excited. And I'm excited about that. Keisha says, I was at the movies, and someone in the theater told us as we were leaving the theater. Imagine that. You're walking out, probably saw Bad Boys 3, maybe not, but I haven't seen it yet, by the way. And then hearing that news, being so cut off from the world, and you walk out into the world to find out that Kobe Bryant's gone, and so tragically. So yeah, become a storyteller. That's another lesson. And those storytelling skills are key in business. Google it. I'm telling you, storytelling in business, and you will see for yourself. And we'll talk about that in another episode, just what I use to help my clients tell their stories. So, and especially as anybody who's out there wanting to develop thought leadership. Okay, so on to the next. Let me show you guys now. Manage your time. Okay, let me put this up for you guys. This was an article written by Mark Spears of The Undefeated. He's somebody actually I've known for quite some time, because when I was in the sports world, we met way back 20 years ago. So a long time. Anyways, Mark talks about, he talked to Kobe, and he was asking him, do you have time to keep your mind on what's happening with the Lakers? Do you have time for that? Do you have time? And he said, this was the quote that he said, and it was really quite fantastic in this article that I'll link to, by the way. He said, look, he said, between building an entire studio from scratch, hiring a publishing production company, licensing, building an animation studio, writing the book, between that and coaching my daughter's team every single day, I have no time. I have no time. None. He remained driven and dedicated to his family, Mark said. And that is so true. And it's like when you are in build mode, you've got to stay so focused. You've got to manage your time. And I bring this up not to highlight the tragedy, but one of the reasons why he flew by helicopter is so that he could, and I read this in another article, is so that he could spend more time with his family. He could, because if anybody watching from LA, I'm sure they can attest to LA traffic is like the worst traffic of life. And he recognized how much time he was wasting. And, you know, Stephen A. Smith talked about, he took that helicopter millions of times. This is not blaming the helicopter. This stuff could happen in a car accident, could happen in a plane, could happen anywhere. But taking the value from that is that value of focus and knowing and where to dedicate your time. So the past was the past for him. So he's not yes, he was a part of the Laker family. He will forever be a part of the Laker family. But where he was focusing his second half, this new side, this new brand of Kobe was on the things that he needed to focus to get things done. So let's think about that when we're managing our time. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to talk to you about, I love this, love this. And I think it has something to do with time management as well, but it's a little bit more on the learning side of things. Because if anybody knows Kobe, and I'm sure those of you watching and are huge Kobe fans, he was learning obsessed. I was watching some videos. Listen, I've watched so many. And he talked about, he didn't have the biggest hands. He didn't have the biggest vertical, but what he did is he studied the game. He studied his opponents. He studied how they played. He wasn't the fastest. He didn't have the biggest hands. He didn't have the highest vertical, but he studied to figure out how to win. And what he did is he take the same, because keep in mind, Kobe left high school. He left high school to join the league. It's not like he has an MBA here, but yet his mind definitely reflects that of anybody who has studied on that level and beyond, PhD level, the level of learning obsessed that he was. So let's take a look at this quote here. To the shock, and this is a quote, this is a really interesting quote, and I have a second side to this. I'll share it in just a second. This is Chris Sacca. He's like a gazillionaire. And Kobe Bryant went up to Chris Sacca and said, hey, I want to do something with you from an investment standpoint. And then this is what Chris Sacca said. He's like, to the shock of a couple of other people sitting with us, I replied to Kobe, I'm sorry, but I just don't take you that seriously. Sacca recalled in an email to the Times. He laughed and then said, then Kobe Bryant laughed. He didn't even take that on. He just said, what could change that? And what's interesting is Sacca then gave him a list of books, TED Talks, videos, podcasts to study about startups and investing and figuring out what he just figured that would be the end of that. Yeah. Send this athlete on his way and, never call me again because that list is way too long. Well, anyways, over the next few months, Kobe kept calling and texting me at all hours of the day. This is what Sacca said. And to discuss his reactions to specific chapters and ideas that would relate to the stuff he was reading and that even stuff that he hadn't assigned. Literally at 3 a.m., he would be on the treadmill, again, speaking to his time management and where he's spending his time. And he would call him. He was obsessed about learning this stuff. And later on, Kobe went on to start his own fund. And it's just incredible to see that. He became learning obsessed. He was constantly learning. He's constantly reading. He was basically saying, listen, there's some other quotes, but, I only have a half-hour show with 10 minutes left. And he was just constantly, there's no excuse. You can Google it. It's out there. Learn it. And that's what we have to, when we need to figure out things, there's a quote that I love from Marie Forleo, everything is figure-outable. And it really is. And that's what he did. He figured it out. And he did some really good figuring because of the amount of success that we've seen, and even some failures as well. But I bet you he learned from that. I bet you that burnt, that he learned from it. So that's another one. And here, as we move on from learning to caring, and this was a really touching response. It was over on ESPN, and Michael Wilbon and Stephen A. Smith were talking, and Michael Wilbon was just remembering around 12 years ago when he had a heart attack, and Kobe had sent him flowers. He got lots of flowers because he's like a national figure when it comes to sports, and everybody knows who Michael Wilbon is. But Kobe sent him flowers, and he was like, he thought it was a joke, and he fact checked, and it was actually Kobe sent him flowers, and it was like the card was from Kobe, and he was like, wow. Because you have to remember, the reporter-player relationship is very interesting. But when Kobe liked you, apparently he liked you. And he was still a bit of a standoffish guy, but he still cared. And apparently every time, and then when he saw Michael Wilbon in person, he got on him about his health. He apparently gave him an 8-minute talk based off of that video clip that I just showed you there. And Kobe cared for the people he worked with, the people around him, the fans. He would always take the time to learn. I read in this other article, he's like, he would always ask when he's being introduced to somebody or wanting to learn, being recommended to speak to somebody about something. Well, what makes them great? What do I need to know about them? So he genuinely cared. He genuinely cared about Michael Wilbon's son. He had another connection. There's so many stories over and over. In that Mark Spears article that I talked about, when Mark was he wrote about this. He was sending out an email to everybody that, he got his job at Undefeated, which, Mark is crushing it over there. But when he got that job, Kobe texted him back and said, hey, congratulations on that. And they have a very special relationship as well. So it's really interesting to see that Kobe, when he cared about you, he genuinely cared. And that, as leaders, we need to remember that all the people around us matter and take the time to know their name. And Kobe did that. So just yet another story. Let's see what else I got for you guys. All right. Here's another good one that we need to remember. We are not here to compete with the competition. We should be competing with ourselves. And that's something that Kobe did really well. And I liked this quote, and this quote was from 2016, I think. So to sum up what the Mamba mentality is, it means to be able to constantly try to be the best version of yourself. It's a constant quest to try to be better today than you were yesterday. And that's something that we should always be on this quest to be our best. And you see that in every iteration of Kobe, that he was trying to be his best. And that commitment to learning, that knowing people around him, that time management piece of being so micromanaging your time, so it's always being used. I found that he compounded how he used his time. So when he was working out, he was learning things like that. So really interesting. So that, my friends, was the Mamba mentality. And I just wanted to just sum it up for you guys. So we have those points, things that we can remember, and then I'll jump back into the comments. 1, be yourself. And he really beat that home in that quote. 2, adopt the alter ego. So sometimes when you need to step up, you need to get that confidence, you need to get that focus. An alter ego might be where it's at. And again, check out The Alter Ego Effect by Todd Herman. Really good book. Become a storyteller. So important that as leaders, as innovators, as people who want to stand out, tell the stories of your team, tell the stories of innovation, tell the stories of your come up. Those things matter. Manage your time. So important that we do that, because especially look at how much he accomplished in this short life and in the second half of his new life. And while still prioritizing family and being there for his daughters and his wife. So that's really important as well. Be learning obsessed. Got to learn, friends. So make sure that everything is figure outable. Just figure it out. You learn things, you become better. Genuinely care. And then the final one, which you won't see unless I move the timer, is compete with yourself. These are the 7 things that we can take away from Kobe. There's so much more, but here's 7 that I found today specifically that stood out for me that I just want to share as this legend is continuing to impact us all. So hope you guys liked it. Let me know. Give me some love, hearts, just claps for Kobe. Just let me know in the comments. I love seeing your reactions. So I hope you guys found this valuable. And I'd also, more than anything else, would love to know, and I'll check out in the comments in just a second, is what have you learned from Kobe? Because you probably have seen many, if not more, articles. What were you inspired about? Please share those inspiration moments about Kobe Bryant in the comments, because we're all learning. We're all learning about him. We're learning more about him that we never, ever knew. But I'd love for you to share them. And if you have any articles that you read that specifically impacted you, please also feel free to drop them in the comments as well, because I would certainly love to read them. So and I will come back to the comments in just a second, but in the meantime, I'm just going to see where we are at right now. So, there's so much here. So, Randall says Calvin and I were ready to go for a walk to Sam's Club when they found out. And then let me see. Enrique says, yes, I'm not the only audiobook person. Perfect. I'm glad. And yes, alter ego used by high performance, Kobe, Beyonce. Yeah, we do it too. That's correct, Dr. Carla. I agree. And then Iris Hunter, as far as when she woke up from a nap because she was sick. She was scrolling on LinkedIn at about 3:30 when she saw it. And I didn't want to believe it. But I told my mom, and she turned on CNN, and there it was. So many of us are looking, we're fact checking, and so much more. And DeGenero says, right, I agree. We need to be our best and better on a daily basis. There's so many life lessons to be learned from the Mamba mentality. There absolutely is. And just because I'm running out of time, guys, I will jump into the comments after, I promise. But I do want to share this scroll stopper. And it was really not a scroll stopper in the sense of, it's life-changing, but I wanted to share how I shared this tragedy as soon as I found out. So let's go over to this scroll stopper here. And what we see right now is this is a picture of my son, who at the time obviously wearing old jersey, so it's quite old. And I just said, we named our son after this man. My heart is truly broken. My prayers are with his family as the entire world mourns this tragic loss. Gone too soon. R.I.P. Kobe. Why can't I stop saying, oh my God? So interestingly enough, the first thing that I can say to you when you are sharing content, and this is really what I wanted to share with you, and this is the purpose of this scroll stopping episode, is fact check, please. Whatever you're doing, please fact check. Make sure you know, because there were even reports around Rick Fox dying in the helicopter crash too. And before you post, confirm. Believe it or not, TMZ is a pretty good source now, but make sure you're confirming before you post anything. So before I posted, I fact checked. Share from the heart. This was something that for me, as someone who has a kid named Kobe, trust me, it was definitely from the heart. And having that picture available, because it was on Facebook, it was like so old, but I remembered it. And just because Kobe was looking down, my son Kobe was looking down, and it just was the right picture for the moment. And but this gives you an opportunity to give that cathartic release. Join the conversation. There's a lot of people mourning, there's a lot of people hurting, so make sure that, when you post something, that you're in the comments as well and just sharing your stories. And this is not about business right now. This is about being human and humanizing that experience. And as well, reach to people or what that should say is reach out to people who need you, because there's a lot of people who were affected more than you think. And if you hear about a tragedy, reach out to them. And maybe that's a DM. Just check in. We all need that. So that was a scroll stopper, guys. And remember, if you don't want to miss a post, make sure I'm moving that because it's going to drive me nuts. Let me just pause it. There we go. Yeah, that Forever 13. There we go. So make sure that you are following Just Ask Cher, the hashtag as well. So if you don't want to miss a post, don't want to miss an episode, that may help you ensure that you get the recognition, but or at least the notification. That's the word. Finally, I just want to talk to you a little bit about Tap That App, 2Ps. One of the things that I used in because I know everybody looks forward to Tap That App, so I'll just quickly share what I was going to share in the original episode, and this can help you create content about Kobe. It's called InShot. And it is a great video and photo editor. So if you haven't tried it out, I definitely recommend you trying it. They have a paid and a free version. It's pretty awesome. There's a lot of stuff you can do with it. I won't break it down today, maybe in next week's episode a little more because I'll show you how I used it. But people look forward to Tap That App. So, and again, if you need to find it, it is inshot.com. And let me just jump back in live. So Bertina says, always strive for excellence. And the interesting thing is Tiffany's saying, to be honest, I was never a big basketball fan and found myself getting more into Kobe as a businessman and a motivational speaker. Yes, he is fire as a motivational speaker. Either way, there will be another him. There will not. And I agree with you 100%, Tiffany. There will not be another Kobe. And Shad Hammond says, I forget sometimes about your basketball roots. I'm sure you have some stories to tell. Oh, boy, do I ever. So, yes. And Lisbeth says, oh my God, I love that app. InShot is dope. It's awesome. So it's definitely something you guys want to take advantage of. And I love this. Carla's saying, what I learned from Kobe Bryant is love what you do. Yes, there are so many things I wanted to talk about. Thank you, Carla, for bringing this up. Don't limit your dreams. Work hard. Yes, and that's what we saw from Kobe. He worked hard. And Bonnie's here, Team Live as well. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys jumping in here in the comments and again sharing. So as you guys know, sharing is caring. So if you are watching to the end, that means you got benefit from this episode. So I would absolutely love it if you felt like sharing it with your network. That would be awesome. And of course, share the links that you read, the videos that you saw. Share it in the links. Make this be something that is serving the community as well. So if you saw a cool video, come back and just pop it in the links in the comments below. That would be awesome. Cool article you read that really inspired you as Kobe the businessman. So coming up next will be on the next episode. What did I plan for you guys? See in my book. Let's see. Oh, this one was good. I had the whole thing all planned out. How to ask for help online. And what I mean by help, I mean like, hey, can you help me by introducing me to someone? Can you refer me? Can you give me a job? All that kind of stuff that we are starting to do as you build your network. Well, there's a right way and a wrong way to do it, and maybe even a share way. So I'll be sharing that in the next episode. So make sure you tune in. And of course, let me remind you one more time, I'll be sharing the links to this episode, everything that I shared in my newsletter. So if you are not on the A-list, what are you waiting for? That is justaskshare.com. Join me there. And this was such an honor to be sharing this with you guys. I appreciate you more than you know. Thank you so much for watching. This was just an incredible episode where we get to honor just an incredible man. Thank you so much for watching. And Kobe Bryant and your daughter Gigi and everybody else in the plane. I pray for the families. I pray for everybody affected. This was a big loss for all of us, but thank you guys so much for watching.